Good afternoon. My name is Alena Shautsova. I am an immigration attorney from Brooklyn, New York. In today's Legally Speaking seminar, I would like to provide you some updates on Affirmative Asylum schedule. As many of you probably aware, in January of 2018, the Trump administration changed the way the Affirmative Asylum interviews were scheduled. From that point on, those cases that were filed first were interviewed first as well. Typically, a person would file a case and from January 2018, they would be called for the interview within about 60 days. And then if they won the case, they won the case. If not, they would have been referred to court. During this process, they would not be able to apply for employment authorization because the employment authorization can be applied for only when the case is pending for 150 days and can be granted no earlier than 180 days elapsed from the time the person filed for asylum. Prior to January 2018, however, the cases were interviewed differently. The first cases that were filed would have to be in line with all other cases, meaning that there was a line that would be like an order, right? First filed case, then second case, and the case would be interviewed in the order they were received. This created a big backlog because what basically happened is that in sometime 2012, I think, there was the amount of cases got so large that people would start waiting for the interviews for years, sometimes literally 2, 3, 4 years. They would wait for just for the interview, just to see an asylum officer. And after January of 2018, all those cases that were waiting for the interview and were not called prior to implementation of this new procedure were backlogged even more. Now, today we received the news that the order may have to change again, and it deals with the situation at the southwest border. What happens is that asylum officers from regular asylum officers will have to travel to southwest border to interview people who are trying to come into the United States for credible, reasonable fear standard. And because of that, many, let's say right now there is one for sure office that will not accept any more affirmative asylum interviews, is a Boston office. So offices will slow down scheduling affirmative asylum cases. In New Jersey, Newark, it was said that there will be just a very limited amount of cases that will be scheduled for affirmative asylum interviews. Basically the scheduling will slow down significantly because officers have to travel to southwest border. And in Boston office, the scheduling will stop completely. The officers basically will finish up cases that were already interviewed, and that would be that. When the process is going for affirmative asylum cases will be renewed again, we do not know. As we do not know what's going to happen with all those cases that were backlogged. Most likely we all have to wait until new officers are hired and trained for reasonable and credible fear interviews at the border, and then the regular asylum officers will be able to interview cases that were filed affirmatively. So what it means? It means that it might be that you're no longer going to be called for within 60 days if you file your case at least in those locations, Newark and Boston, right? And you just need to be aware of that. And I think there will be more officers that will have to have the same practice, that they basically will stop scheduling affirmative cases until the situation at the border is resolved or more officers are trained and hired to handle that matter. It's an important update because you need to be ready as to with your plans, how you're going to proceed and everything else. And you can read more about asylum, how to prepare for asylum interview and things like that on our website, www.shautsova.com. Thank you.